Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner have pulled ahead in the rankings, but the Spaniards' ex-coach believes they can be troubled. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner have set themselves apart, widening the gap with the rest of the field. They've now shared the last 9 Grand Slam titles and sit thousands of points clear of their rivals at the top of the rankings at numbers 1 and 2, respectively. And this clay season, they'll be in a tug-of-war for the top spot. However, former world number 1 Juan Carlos Ferrero, who spent 7 years coaching Alcaraz before they split in December, believes Alcaraz and Sinner aren't as far ahead of their rivals as it may seem. Ferrero guided Alcaraz to 6 of his 7 Grand Slam titles and was in his corner when the Spaniard became the youngest world number 1 in ATP history in 2021, but says there's not a huge difference between the top 2 and the rest of the pack. I'd say there's a slight difference, but not that much. In the end, Zverev has shown he's close, perhaps an inspired Taylor. Djokovic is always a force to be reckoned with, Ferrero told Marca, naming those who could bother the multi-Grand Slam champions. They're players who can give Carlos and Jannik trouble. It's true that if they're both at their best, they're superior to the rest, but there are rivals who can seriously challenge them. Still, Ferrero was shocked to see 2024 and 2025 Australian Open champion Sinner suffer a 5-set defeat to Djokovic in the semifinals in Melbourne earlier this year. He added, "I was surprised that he lost to Novak, especially because he had beaten him quite clearly in the last few matches. I'm a little worried about his physical condition because he already had problems at the beginning of the tournament. It's also true that Novak is Novak, and when he's playing at 100%, he's always very difficult to beat. But I wouldn't say that Sinner disappointed me by losing to Novak because the same thing happened to Carlos last year." Sinner bounced back to complete the Sunshine Double, winning Indian Wells and Miami back-to-back. He also became the first man to do the double without dropping a set. Alcaraz, meanwhile, won the Australian Open and the ATP 500 event in Doha, but lost in the Indian Wells semifinals and was stunned in the 3rd round of the Miami Open. While Ferrero believes the likes of Djokovic and Zverev are right there to trouble Sinner, not everyone agrees. Rafael Nadal's uncle and former coach, Tony, recently claimed nobody could challenge them. "Today, I don't see a Juan Fonseca or a Jacob Mensik able to compete with Carlos in a year or two. It's possible a player emerges soon, but today I know no 17, 18, or 19-year-old who hints at a future as world number 1, Tony told Radio Estadio Noche earlier this year. Of course, ultimately, Carlos battles Sinner, who is very strong. With Zverev, we'll see how he responds after the Australian Open. Then there are the others who should be contending but have faded: Andrei Rublev, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Daniil Medvedev.